Hello everybody, this is Anna, also known as Anna-Nita on Ravelry, and on the screen you can see where you else can find me if you want to contact me, follow me or support me. It's new. If you want to support me and my podcast, you can support me on patreon.com/Anna-Nita. If you don't know Patreon, it's simply the way you can support musicians or podcaster or writer or whatever. You will find the possibility to donate $1, $5 or $10 per creation, and the money I will collect this money and will buy stuff for the podcast. So for example, a better tripod, a cutting software and so on. Now I'm in Vienna, so maybe it's a bit echoey again. I did my best to fill the room with stuff so it can absorb the sound, but well, I'm in Vienna, so that's the best I can do. The last Knitting and Crocheting podcast, which this is by the way, is 2 weeks ago, and last week I uploaded my first book Nook. And I think the book Nook will be about every month or so, because I don't only want to talk about one book I have read, and depending on how much I'm reading per month, I will be able to upload the next book Nook. But it's awesome that you liked it, and I will definitely go on with it. But today it's about knitting and crocheting. It is, did I say it's Sunday? It's Sunday and it is extremely hot outside. So that means for Benny and me, we are suffering so badly. Benny is down here. Maybe he can jump on the chair. Benny, come on here. Come. Yeah. There he is. It's too hot for us. Gell? It's too hot. Yeah, it's too hot. Okay, runter. This time I can so in this episode you will see crocheting project, one knitting project, no finished object, but I will talk about my whips, our make-alongs which I host, and the next make-along which will start in July. But I'm so much looking forward to that upcoming make-along. And so I would say we should start with the fiber content. My first work in progress is a knitted object. Last episode there was no knitting, but normally I have to say some things before I show you. I am not so much into Netflix and Amazon Prime lately since weeks, because maybe it's because I'm reading again, and so reading is calming me down very much. And the stories you read are much more detailed and deeper than a series or a movie can be. And that made something with me. So I really didn't want to watch and so on. And that meant to me I started watching podcasts again. And I'm watching podcasts always, but normally I have my, let's say my holy trinity. So Sarah, Kristen and Nina. But every once in a while I squeeze in some other podcasters. But this week I tried out new to me podcasters, and not so famous ones. An interesting fact about me, maybe it's interesting, mostly I don't like the big famous podcasters. I don't know. It's often the case that I like people or things which the most people don't know or don't like. So yes. And that inspired me so much. And I also watched older episodes like Christmas episodes, Advent episodes, and especially the last upload from Sarah from the Lost Sockquill podcast inspired me so much. She is awesome. She is the most inspiring podcaster, not because she is always making the great awesome stuff or so, but she is knitting so many socks, and socks normally are my most favorite things to knit. I also enjoy shawls, but socks are so convenient and you have a finished object very soon. And I love to wear hand knit socks in the winter and autumn. I pretty much every day, I wear them every day and I gift them very often. So that inspired me. Wow, that was much talking for an introduction to this WIP. That inspired me to go on with my Felici sock. Yeah, I will first show you the finished one. This I finished in February. Maybe you can remember I took this with me to Mainz, where I had to attend the doctoral seminar, and I had much time on the train. This is Felici in the Lime 8 colorway, and this is so awesome. Yes, and Felici is just awesome soft. Okay, as I always do, 2x2 ribbing. This is, because I love this pattern with striping, blueberry waffle and contrasting white. Heel and toe. Normally I really like to have a white ribbing, but with fun yarns like self-strapping, I can't wait to start with the fun part, and the fun part definitely is this. And this is the second sock. Okay, when I last showed you, I was here. Okay, and I had many troubles with this second ball of yarn, because the Felici comes in the 50-gram balls, and this was just perfect and right. And in this one I had some knots. That is not a problem for me, because that can happen, but they tied, so the yarn broke, I guess, in the fabric. So I mean in the, in the yarn making process, but they tied the yarn together in a wrong way. So the color repeat was broken and wrong. So I had to figure out, okay, what color. So I saw the knot, cut the yarn, and then knit on. And then I realized, oh wait, because I have always the second sock with me to avoid mistakes. For example, by accident making the wrong ribbing 1x1 instead of 2x2 or so. And then I realized, oh no. Okay, and that was this part. And it's a bit, here is this one color, then here is yellow, and then is this one color again. And it should look like this. I think, yeah, if you really pay attention, you can tell, but on the leg you won't. You won't be able to see this. The only person who will notice it is me. Yeah. I knit on this, so I knit from here to here just yesterday and today. Yesterday during soccer, because Austria played against Germany, and such a shame Austria won this game. Okay, I feel good for them, because they haven't beat Germany since 32 years about. And Germany and Austria is always, it's a hate and love relationship, especially from Austria to Germany, because the Germans don't really think about Austrians. I'm sorry to say that, but Germany is the bigger country, and I think it's always the same. Maybe it's the same with Spain and Portugal. Maybe it's the same with America and England. So, I mean, countries which speak nearly the same language, and there is a size difference. So yes, and the Austrians, don't like the Germans, really. And I'm getting to know this every day I'm in Vienna, pretty much every day. They have a word they say, they call us in a certain way. They give us the name Piefke, and it's, I don't know, it's back in history. There was this soldier called Piefke or so, and he was the typical German man. So yeah, and that's the role model for the Austrians for Germany. So that's a typical German guy, and they are yeah, Germans are hated mostly. Yeah, but I say it's a love and hate relationship. They also like us, but yeah. So it's always. I'm sorry for the ones who are watching this podcast who come from Austria or the Netherlands, because there's one goal in every kind of sports event for a German. You have to win against the Netherlands and Austria. I don't know why. It's just a thing. So I'm not so much into soccer, but if the countries play against each other, it's interesting for me. And the is it in English World Championships? Weltmeisterschaft? I think. Yeah, so this starts in the middle of June, so I think in 2 weeks or so, and that's always a thing I watch when Germany plays. So I'm rambling, I'm very sorry. So this is my sock, and during knitting this, because of watching so many podcasters who are knitting socks, I'm going through my stash. I mean the stash is at home in Lower Austria, and thinking, okay, which sock yarn I will take next, and so that brings us very soon to our next make along in July, because I have some ideas and also sock ideas. Felici is such an awesome yarn, but unfortunately it's not so easy to get all the colorways in Austria or Germany, let's say in Europe. I know there is this British vendor, but they don't have all the colors. How could they? I mean, yeah. Yeah, awesome. And unfortunately, I don't have the same white color with me, because I don't know why. But I have another white, and let's see. I'm compare this. Nah, because this is natural and this is very white. Yeah. So I will finish this color stripe, and then I have to wait when I'm back home again to go on with this sock, because that in these things I am totally OCD. Totally. Okay, but it's so much fun, and it's so sad that I don't have sock yarn with me. Other sock yarn. I could do a scrappy sock with all the minis I have with me. First work in progress. The second one is a crochet shawl, and this crochet shawl is my owl for the Harry Potter knit and crochet house cup. I have already talked about it. I'm playing for the house Ravenclaw, and you have to submit, is that the word? Yeah. A homework, so a class every month. It can be a mitered square in your blanket, or in my case a granny square in your blanket, but you can also enter like garments or so, but they have to fit to the, I think it's called prompt. So for example, the classes are, for example, this month it was defending against the dark arts, the class, and I turned in, so and the prompt was knit or crochet. Sometimes you even can do non-ravelry crafts. Knit or crochet, craft something which is blue, which is red or has holes in it. So in here on the screen you can see what I have submitted. Because of the shawl and because I haven't had much knitting juice the last weeks, I only submitted granny squares. But in the last term I also did hats and the baby blanket I have made for my friends and so on. Yeah, but you have to turn in every month a class to be able to play next term again. So yes, but it's good. So you always have to do something. That's awesome. But the owl is this wizarding level, I think. I always forget that. If I don't forget to look it up, you can see what owl means on the screen. An owl in this game is a thing you create which takes up to 3 months or so. So it has to be a bigger project, and you have to explain why it is all worthy, and you have to, it's like an expose you have to send in, and they have to allow you to enter this as O. And this is an O for me because it's made of this yarn. It's already very airy. I haven't weighed it. Maybe I should pause and weigh it. I want to know if I'm already close to the middle of the skein, because I have to finish the 50% mark, or I have to reach the 50% mark this month, and I have to finish this by July. So, okay, and this has 1000 meter on 200 gram. That's the reason why it's all worthy, because much yardage. And this is a, for me, more complicated crochet pattern. It's the Vongole shawl, so that means shell shawl, because the pattern looks like, or the stitch looks like a shell. And that's the shawl. So at the moment it fits very well to my dress. Now I will show you close, more close. Okay, red is always very hard to pick up for the camera, so yeah, I think now you can see this. So this is a German pattern. There is no English translation, but I think for crocheters they already recognize, oh yeah, that's this and that stitch. So it's a repeat of 2 rows. You have always a kind of foundation row, and the next row is the shell row, where you do the actual shell, okay? So and then you do the foundation row for the next shell row again. So that is now for me very easy. So, but in the beginning, I really had to pay attention for every stitch. And I made mistakes, and I had to rip back sometimes. But now, because I'm crocheting this every day, I have memorized it. But if I put this aside for weeks, I would have to concentrate again. Yeah. After coral, we'll go to white and then to blue. And I'm so much looking forward to the blue part. Yeah. So pretty. I hope it will be big enough. If not, I will contact the lady I bought it from if she could give me a mini of that blue, so to add some length to the shawl, but we will see. Yeah. I really enjoy to knit these, or to knit and crochet, especially crochet. By the way, 3mm hook. These gradient big yarn cakes, because it's like self-striping, you always look forward to coming to the next color, and that keeps you going, and so you will have the end result very quickly compared to a solid color, for example. My last project, I will show you half and half on the screen in live, because I didn't take my granny square blanket with me to Vienna, because yeah, much stuff to carry around. But for these squares I have made yesterday. And in just a second I will show you the other ones I have done the last 2 weeks. As you can see, sometimes I don't have enough for one whole square, so I add other colors. Yeah, I can only tell, let's see, I believe this is Gnome Acres, and this could be s'mores. It's not coffee, because it's lighter than coffee. And it feels like it's the fancy gnome base. This could be the garden gnome. Yeah. And this is Wolle and Wein Yarns in the Deck the Halls colorway. And this, what I have added here, is a Christmas mini by Gnome Acres. It's old Christmas colors. It was a mini set of 5 or so. And now you can see on the screen the other row, so the other 10 squares I have connected to my blanket, and some of them I have crocheted. So I think you have maybe seen two or three squares, but then now you see the 10 squares and they are already added, so connected to my blanket. So yes, now we can talk about our make-alongs. I have 2 year-long make-alongs running. Make-along does mean you can enter every kind of craft, okay? And the one is the treasure chest along. In this along it goes about crocheting or knitting, crafting presents through the whole year, so that we don't have to hurry and stress ourselves right before Christmas or right before the anniversary or birthday, or whenever you want to give this present. You don't have to collect them like in the box of socks call. You can give them away throughout the year, but the idea is to make them in to create presents, to pile them in a stock. And you can, if you know, oh, now I'm invited to a birthday party, oh, I will pick this dishcloth or so, or this shawl I have made to gift her. So, for example. And the other one is the ornament along, or the year ornaments. I think there is no need to explain it. Ornaments, no matter which holidays related to them. And at the end of this year, I will draw winners from both threads. So please only finished objects, and you can find them on Ravelry. And the next upcoming make-along is a make-along I'm really looking forward to, because not that I want to have Christmas here, because it's nice to have the summer now, but I'm already thinking of Christmas colorways and Christmas projects. And the make-along I'm talking about is the Christmas in July make-along, and it's in July, the whole July. And I want to make Christmas socks, and I really want to make some progress on my blankets, or especially on this blanket, because I would like to make a Christmas Afghan. By the way, what is the difference between Afghan and blanket and throw? I think throw is a smaller size, but Afghan and blanket, what's the difference? Maybe you can write down in the comments below. I would like to make a crochet blanket, maybe only granny stripes or sunburst granny squares or so, in red, green and white. And it would be awesome if it was sparkly yarn. And I was browsing through the internet, and especially Knitpicks, and Knitpicks has this yarn which is called, I think, Stroll Shimmer or so. Yeah, but for a blanket it's a bit expensive, I guess. Well, I have to see. But for socks I have so much in my stash. Yeah. Okay. So yes, we have talked about the works in progress and our make-alongs, and Benny is running. Möchtest du nochmal raufkommen? Nana, komm. Komm. Okay. Sitz. Ja, du bist einfach süß. Du bist so süß. Bist du süß? Ich glaube schon. So, and then there isn't much more to talk about, because I have separated the other stuff like books to the Book Nook, and because you have commented on the Book Nook and also on Instagram on my question if I should talk about being an HSP, a highly sensitive person, and you want to hear me talking about it, so I will prepare myself for the next Book Nook. and we'll talk about being an HSP, how I found out I'm an HSP, what my HSP typical things are, because not every HSP is like the other. And I will also give you some hints for books and podcasts. Yeah. By the way, podcasts, that's maybe a thing now in the blathering section I could mention. So it's a journey with me and English, the English language, because in the beginning I thought, oh, Anna, your English is so bad you can't start an English podcast. And there was no way to make a German speaking one because I prefer the English speaking community. You are all so nice, and I prefer much more the English speaking community. Yeah. And okay, then I accepted this challenge to make this happen. And then I thought, okay, yeah, I'm improving and it's good. The people can understand me. And then I thought, oh, audio podcast, listening, not making one, listening to an audio podcast. Well, no, because if I can't see the people, how they talk with their hands or showing up something, I won't understand them. Because, for example, talking with a real human in English, for example, with an American or a British person, is possible. It's makeable. I can deal with that. But for example, on the phone, it's a totally different experience. It's very hard, yeah, because you can't see what they do with their hands, yeah, and yeah. So I have thought about listening to the podcast from Stacey Perry, Very Pink Knits, because she's also doing a audio podcast on Thursdays, I think. Her video comes out on Wednesdays and her audio on Thursdays. But I have never tried it out because I thought, no way, I won't understand anything. And because I wasn't so much into watching movies and series lately, I started to listen to podcasts. First, no knitting related podcasts, and then I tried out Stacey's. And I can so much recommend it. I think you all know the Very Pink Knits video channel, but I can totally encourage you to try out. If you have an iPhone, just use your podcast app and type in the search, Very Pink Knits, and then you will find it. It's Q&A podcast, because she is, how she says, magically turning knitting questions into knitting answers. So, like in her videos, but much more knitting problems will be talked about. And sometimes Casey, her co-host, is interviewing crafters who are having shops or special projects, or are interesting in a certain way, but also everything is fiber or crafting related. So yeah, hop over and search for that, because I enjoyed it very much, only to listen to something, and I like Stacey Perry so much. I have always, when I haven't discovered the video podcasts, I always watched her tutorials just to have her company, because I like her so much. She is so funny and friendly, and I pretty much like her personality. So for those who are not only interested in tutorials, definitely listen to her. Yeah, okay, that is everything for today. It's a little bit shorter, but I haven't done so much, so I can't show you that much. I have received happy mail by Sandy, a very nice viewer of the podcast, German-speaking viewer. And I can't show you now because I don't have it with me in Vienna, but next week on Sunday you will see it on the screen, because then I will be in my flat again. So I wish you a very happy, sunny, awesome, nice weekend. And yeah, if you want to support me, hop over to Patreon, and we will see each other next week. Bye bye.